All right, welcome to video 4 of creating asteroids. Last video, we created our physics engine. This video, what we'd like to do is fix a major problem, and that is when we hit the green flag and we fly our ship around with the up arrow, our ship can run into a wall and it can't go anywhere. And it takes a while because it's still technically accelerating. If I held down that up arrow, you can see my Y move is still going into the negatives. And if I turn around and try and go the opposite direction, it takes me a while to get my Y move back into the positive range for my ship to start flying the other direction. So this is a real annoying problem. Here is a really simple way to fix this. Because we're not in a 3D environment, we're in a 2D environment. Let's turn our spaceship into something sort of like Pac-Man, where if we go into one side of the screen, we can teleport back onto the other side of the screen, still going the same direction. So let's give this a go. Let's go ahead and see if we can create this. For starters, I have a little note from last time. I said done with video 3. You can always right click and add a comment, and you can use this for all sorts of different things. But this is one of the beauties of the comments, is you can keep track of where you are in your progress with these tutorials. So I'm going to close those out for right now though. And let's get into the nitty gritty. So there's going to be a few things that we need to do in order to switch positions. And we're going to need some if-then statements. We're going to need 4 of them. And for this, I'll go into my controls here. I'll get an if-then. And I'm just going to set it here in the blank area. I can right-click. I could drag 4 of them in on top of each other. Or I could just duplicate them. Right-click and duplicate. So I've got 4 if-then statements. Whoops, I accidentally put one inside of another. Make sure they're all stacked directly on top of each other. Into these, we need some less than, greater than statements. Let's go to our green operators. And you want to find this second one here. We don't want the greater than, we want the less than. Let's pull this over here. And we're going to drop these in. Again, I can right-click, duplicate, and put these into each one. Okay. Now, that by itself is not doing anything whatsoever. It's not even hooked up to anything, right? We can click it, execute the script. It still doesn't do anything. However, one thing that you should know is that what we want to find out is what are the edges of our screen. So we took our spaceship and let's fly it off to the farthest right point of the screen that we possibly can. We can see that our spaceship right now, it can end up anywhere around 250. It starts running into a problem. It needs to be able to go, we want it to switch back over to the left side of the screen if it runs into the right side. And so what we're going to do for that is when we're dealing with our X position, I'll hit the green flag to stop my spaceship there. We want to say if our X position is greater or is less than negative 250, then we want to set our X to positive 250. And let's come in here. We'll set this up negative 250. And what we're wanting is under our motion blocks is this X position. And then we're going to do the exact opposite as well. If this runs into it, well, let me finish this first here, I should say. We want to set X to positive 250. So what that's saying is if we go off to the left side of our screen, our ship will appear on the right. And then we could do the opposite so that if our ship goes off to the right, it'll go over to the left. So we're basically going to duplicate this here. I'm going to grab my X position there and my set X. And I'm going to do the same thing, but for the positive side of things. So if it's greater than that, we want to go to the negative. And we want this to forever be true. So we're going to take this whole line of code here, and we're going to drop it down here, not inside of an if-then statement, but inside of this forever loop. So if I hit the green flag, let's see what I can do here. Uh-oh. I have a glitch. have a glitch. Oh, and I think I know what it is. I accidentally flip-flopped two things. So if my x position is less than negative 250, we want to set x to 250. And we did the opposite. And what the problem is our ship is always being set to the exact same location. What we need to do is we need to say we're going to flip-flop these two. So if 250 is less than the x position, then we're going to set x to negative 250. And there it goes. Let's turn it around. Thrusting the other way. And there it goes. You see how it appears? Now, that 250 number is contingent upon one thing. It's important that it's depending on your sprite and how big it is, it's however far you can move your sprite over to the right side of the screen. And as you're moving your ship around, it's whatever number that you run into in your X position down here. So yours might be slightly different than 250. Maybe it's 235 or something else. So you might have to play around with calibrating your numbers. Now, we still have a problem though. If we try and go up, we're still running into the ceiling. And if we try and go down, we're still running into the floor. Let's do the same thing for our Y positions now. So we'll do our Y positions. Let's come down here. We'll grab our Y positions from our motion block. And one of them is going to be there. And our other Y position is going to be right here. And we'll do the same thing, except for Y is going to be a different number because our screen's wider than it is up. Our x-axis is bigger than our y-axis. Our y-axis is shorter here. It's not going to be 250. So let's go ahead and check out how far we can go. Y positive 195. And then as we go down, we can get all the way to y negative 200. But I'm going to go with the y 195. That looks good to me. Because if our nose is pointed that way, we want our ship to teleport. Okay. So in here, we're going to say if the y position, or if 195 is less than our current y position of our ship, then we want to set y to the opposite, negative 195. And down here, if y is less than negative 195, and again, these numbers might be different for you. It might be 175, for example. You'll have to play around with your game and find out exactly based off of the size of your sprite. So if the y position is less than negative 195, let's set our y to positive 195. And now when we start our game, if we fly up, oh, did you see that? It took it a little bit. It didn't do it at 195. So let me adjust the number slightly. It looks like I was a little bit off on my calibration here. So I'm going to go 194. And I'll have it show up at 194. You see, it didn't teleport right away. And I think it's because it was just a little bit too far. So let's try this again. Let's see if it's smooth this time. Yep, there it is. It fixed the glitch. So that's what will happen. You'll have this issue where maybe your ship doesn't teleport until you start turning around or something like that. So you want to find out what's the closest your ship can get to the edge. If it runs like straight into it or something like that. So you'll have to play around with those numbers a little bit. See if you can get that to be totally smooth. All right, I hope you enjoyed that. That is how to get your Pac-Man-like effect to get your ship to teleport from one side of the screen to the other so you can have a smooth flight. And let's just enjoy this for a little bit. I wonder how fast we can get our ship going. Look at this. What if we just go to the right? Does our ship just keep accelerating? Oh my gosh, look at that. It is going crazy fast now. Yep, really fast. Occasionally it runs into the wall, so I might need to recalibrate things just a little bit on the X. You see, it's at 244 right now. So, and it's not teleporting. So let me adjust this from 250 to 244. I needed to play test in order to figure that out. So come over here, go 244. Try this one, 244, 244. And let's test that out now. Let's see if we run into that same problem. If we start going really fast or flying around, can we basically make our ship go anywhere without having any troubles? Looks like we can. Looks like it's doing, oh, nope, I ran into it. Maybe if I make that 243, I was able to get it to glitch out again. So I'll just keep recalibrating till I get it perfect. Let's go X243 here again. You got to change each of these numbers to make sure it goes through perfectly. And I can see my ship has already fixed that from going from right to left. And now I just fixed it from going left to right. So now I won't have any more problems with that whatsoever. Looks like I can go virtually anywhere. Oh, but look at that. 192. It got stuck at 192. 187. Okay, so the Y, 187, looks like we need to break that barrier. So let's go one less than it to make sure it's fixed on the Y. And let's go 186. So you might have to calibrate these numbers a little bit lower. And again, it's all dependent on the size of your sprite. And just make sure that you keep the negatives and the positives straight. And I'll test it one more time. Let's see if we can fly it around now. So I'm going to try all sorts of different angles. And it looks like my ship is really zipping around now. I'm having no problems. It's not getting hung up anywhere, anything like that. And it is going really, really fast right now until I get to go to the opposite direction, and then I can slow it back down. Cool. I love it. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed. So that is the end of part 4. So you might want to put a tag onto that. Right click, go add comment. You might put in something like done with video 4. Okay. Take care. Have a good day.